Good morning. My name is Gale Morrow. I've been a member of this church since 2010 and currently serve as Vice President of the Board of Trustees. I would like to welcome you to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of San Antonio. During the COVID pandemic, we connect virtually in weekly worship. We do this to be together and to receive information and inspiration. At our church, we believe and act as if we are united by universal love that binds us in mutual care and affection, especially in our work for justice for all and for our planet. Our faith is all-inclusive, and all means all, really. If you are new to us or visiting for the first time today, we welcome you to sign in on the chat stream. We'd like to get to know you and follow up with you. Wherever you are on your life's journey, we hope you will find your place with us.
Good morning. My name is Terry Palin, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. I've been asked to light the chalice today. I light this chalice to honor our healthcare professionals for the sacrifices they make every day, but especially during this pandemic. Your dedication, commitment, and courage deserves our deepest admiration and gratitude. Your service to your patients saved countless lives and makes a difference every day. May you be safe during this time and feel our love radiating out to you. Blessed be.
We are called as Unitarian Universalists to build a beloved community where all are welcome and the human family lives in forgiveness and grace, whole and reconciled. We know that this takes work, and so we are committed to live and behave as a community in covenant. Let's recite our covenant that binds us together in community. The words can be found on your screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Here are a few quotes about today's service. 2,500 years ago, the Buddha said, "We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think." The Dalai Lama says, "This is my simple religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain, our own heart is our temple. The philosophy is kindness." George Carlin said, When you're in front of an audience and you make them laugh at a new idea, you're guiding the whole being for the moment. No one is ever really more themselves than when they really laugh. Their defenses are down. It's very Zen-like, that moment. They are completely open, completely themselves when that message hits the brain and the laugh begins. That's when new ideas can be implanted. If a new idea slips in at that moment, it has a chance to grow. Deepak Chopra writes, no matter how closely you examine the water, glucose, and electrolyte salts in the human brain, you can't find the point where these molecules become conscious. And finally, from Neil deGrasse Tyson, everything we do, every thought we've ever had is produced by the human brain, but exactly how it operates remains one of the biggest unsolved mysteries, and it seems the more we probe its secrets, the more surprises we find.
It's time to share our joys and sorrows. I invite us once again, as a faith community, to enter into our hearts and minds with intention, remembering that principle of life, that energy follows intention. May we respond to all that is shared today with expressions of compassion and action. And as we reflect together about our intentions and conditions, let's co-create the energy for healing and supporting each other to build that to which we aspire. For ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we come fully alive. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are heard and held in compassion. Especially at this time of uncertainty, may we listen ever more deeply and grow more involved and connected to each other. Let's join in silent meditation as we write our joys and sorrows on the chat screen while Jaime plays our meditation music. I invite you to take a deep, cleansing breath and exhale. For all our joys, sorrows, and concerns, may we feel empathy and compassion. For all that is unspoken, may the caring of our community offer a space of deep kindness, loving, and just action. Today we especially bring our energies to intentions of healing, focusing our thoughts and feelings with those in our community who struggle and hurt and have asked for support. And we appreciate the gifts shared by those who have checked in with joys and happy experiences. We pray in the memory of all those we hold in our hearts, and with thoughts and feelings for those who need our support, and we pray for all that is loving, good, and just that we aspire to in the name of the mystery of life. Amen. As we enter the time for our offering, let us remember that we give to remind ourselves just how many gifts we have to offer. Generosity begets generosity. Today we share our plate with U Camp and Retreat Center in the rugged ranch land of the Hill Country about an hour west of San Antonio. Their mission is to provide a welcoming, peaceful place to gather for spiritual, educational, and recreational purposes in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist principles and the land. I invite you to check out their many programmatic offerings both on the land and in virtual distancing at ubaru.org. You may make an offering on our online giving portal through the link on the screen while we enjoy music from Richard Switzer and Jaime Ramirez.
Said a scarecrow sitting on a pole to a blackbird sitting on a fence. Oh, the Lord gave me a soul, but forgot to give me common sense. If I had an ounce of common sense, I could while away the hours, conferring with the flowers, consulting with the rain. And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching, if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle for any individual in trouble or in pain. With the thoughts I'd be thinking I could be another Lincoln if I only had a brain. Oh, I could tell you why are the oceans near the shore. I could think of things I'd never thought before, and then I'd stop and think some more. I would not be just a nothing, my head all full of stuffing, my heart all full of pain. And perhaps I'd deserve you and be even worthy of you if I only had a brain. When a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his mettle, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm presuming that I could be kind of human if I only had a heart. I'd be tender, I'd be gentle, and awfully sentimental regarding love and art. I'd be friends with the sparrows and the boy that shoots the arrows if I only had a heart. Picture me a balcony above a voice sings low. Wherefore art thou, Romeo? I hear a beat, how sweet, just to register emotion, jealousy, devotion, and really feel the part. I would stay young and chipper, and I'd lock it with a zipper if I only had a heart. Life is sad, believe me, missy, when you're born to be a sissy. without the vim and verve. But I could change my habits, never more be scared of rabbits, if I only had the nerve. I'm afraid there's no denying, I'm just a dandelion, a fate I don't deserve. But I could change my prowess, be a lion, not a mouse, if I only had the nerve. Oh, I'd be in my stride, a king down to the core. I could roar the way I never roared before, and then I'd roof and roar some more. I would show the Dinosaurus who's king around the forest, a king they better serve. Why, with my regal Caesar, I could be another Caesar if I only had the nerve.
May we be reminded that there is no church without its people. We are these people. We are pleased to have shared with U today, and not only financially, but also as a number of our good members serve in leadership on its board of directors, including Roy Elsie, Paula Pebsworth, and Stephen Steckschulte. Thank you for your service of U. May we become more as one, especially in our service, made possible by our offering today.
In 1862, Emily Dickinson wrote this poem about the brain. The brain is wider than the sky, for put them side by side, the one the other will contain with ease, and you beside. The brain is deeper than the sea, for hold them, blue to blue, the one the other will absorb, as buckets, sponges do. The brain is just the weight of God, for heft them, pound for pound, and they will differ, if they do, as syllable from sound. Contemporary poets compiled this poem entitled simply, Our Brain. Compared to our bodies, our brains are quite large, require nutrients and rest to function and charge. Billions of neurons and countless connections sending out signals in all the directions. The cerebral cortex helps us all reason, memory, attention, no matter the season. Signals are responsible for the simplest of actions. Chemicals aid in mutual attractions. The structure is largely dependent on genes. We're fortunate to possess these remarkable machines. Through our life experiences, our brain changes and thrives. It's a beautiful instrument that helps us survive.
Today's message is entitled, Our Brain and Our Faith. One Sunday morning, a few years ago, as Dr. James Austin waited for a train in London, he glanced away from the tracks towards the River Thames. The American neurologist who was spending a sabbatical year in England saw nothing out of the ordinary. The grimy underground station, a few dingy buildings, the same pale gray sky. He was thinking, somewhat absent-mindedly, about the Zen Buddhist retreat he was headed toward. And then, he suddenly felt a sense of energy unlike any he had ever experienced. It was as if his individual existence, that of separateness from the physical world around him, evaporated like the morning mist in a bright sun. He said he saw things as they really are. The sense of I, me, mine, disappeared. Time was not present. He had a sense of eternity. His old yearnings, loathings, fear of death, and insinuations of selfhood vanished. He had been graced by a comprehension of the ultimate nature of things. Call it a mystical experience, a spiritual moment, a religious epiphany. Call it what you like, but Dr. Austin doesn't call them any of those things. Rather than interpret his graceful instance as proof of a reality beyond the comprehension of his senses, much less a proof of deity, Austin took it as a proof of the existence of the brain, like a modern-day Descartes. As a neurologist, he accepts that all we see, hear, feel, and think is processed by the brain. When we scientifically look at the brain, we see an intricate network of billions of neurons in constant electric communication, a neurochemical labyrinth that senses the world outside and within, produces love and sorrow, keeps our hearts beating and lungs breathing, composes our thoughts, and constructs our consciousness. Dr. Austin's moment at the train station inspired him to explore the neurological underpinnings of brain-generated spiritual and mystical experience. In order to feel that time, fear, and self-consciousness had dissolved, he reasoned, certain brain circuits must have been interrupted. Which ones? Here's what he decided. The activity of the amygdala must have been dampened. It is a set of neurons in the limbic system, located deep within the brain, that monitors the environment for threats and register fear, fight, or flight. This part of the brain is activated in epileptic seizures, panic and anxiety attacks, as well as in very aggressive behavior. Calming it leaves a relaxed, blissful, and serene state. The parietal lobe circuits must have been quieted. They process sensory information regarding the location of parts of our bodies, and when calmed, support a state of spaciousness. Lastly, the frontal lobe, the executive part of the brain, generating one's sense of self, must have been affected. This is the last part of the brain to develop, and the part that is still developing as we age. A reduction of blood flow to this region evokes sentiments often described as a loss of self, or a dissolution of one's normal ego. When these changes happen, Austin concludes, what we think of as our higher functions of selfhood appear briefly to drop out or dissolve. And when he revealed his theories in 1998 in his 844-page book, Zen and the Brain, it was published not by a New Age publisher, but by MIT Press. Since then, more and more scientists have flocked to the study of neurobiology, of religion, and spirituality. Even the American Psychological Association published Varieties of Anomalous Experience, covering reported enigmas from near-death experiences to mystical ones. Dr. Andrew Newberg and a collaborator at the University of Pennsylvania used brain imaging data they collected from Tibetan Buddhists deep in meditation and from Franciscan nuns absorbed in prayer in their book, Why God Won't Go Away. Why God Won't Go Away. In a nutshell, they used the data to identify the brain's circuitry, and similar to the research of Dr. Austin, they explain how it is that religious and spiritual rituals have the power to move both believers and non-believers alike into transcendent states. The brain scan measurements of neurophysiology so clearly correlate with perceived states of consciousness. Yet the question arises, do we have such experiences because we are being touched by God, or because it's an effect of focusing our attention in meditation and prayer that manipulates our neurochemistry and alters our perceptions? For sure, like Dr. Austin's sabbatical experience and the conclusions reached by experiments of neurobiologists, there are real biologically based events occurring in our brain. Archaeological records suggest that every culture from the dawn of humanity has experienced mysticism, transcendentalism, and spirituality. Human spiritual consciousness has evolved in response to our self-conscious awareness, which includes the awareness of death. The early religion of animism believed that everything contained an energy, a life force. That belief is inherent in us today, as evolved from our ancestral human experience. And as a result of these cognitions, many human beings believe they are immortal. The perception of immortality offers some relief from a great deal of psychological strain of the inevitability of death. Today, belief in the comforting presence of some form of spirituality and an afterlife might help humans to relieve their mortal fears and anxieties. We now know that the brain is wired to comfort us. Note how the non-responsive state is normative for people in their last days. We now see how our brain and neurochemistry, which is attributed to nature's evolution, contributes to the variety of means by which humans can deliberately induce anxiety-reducing or even ecstatic spiritual states. Now, I make my points today as a UU minister, straddling the multiple views of our theologies that I myself have actually experienced and as are expressed throughout our congregation and our world. In describing these discoveries in the neurosciences, I wish to offer a scientific explanation suggesting that these experiences might involve connection with the God of our understanding, or describe the manner in which our brain interprets certain neurochemical processes, or both. Science has revealed that the adult brain remains open to change throughout its lifespan. While in the past many scientists thought that the brain regulated the mind, recent discoveries indicate something different. Our minds actually regulate our brains. The simple truth is that how we focus our attention and intentionally direct the flow of energy and information through our neural circuits can not only directly alter the brain's activity, but also alter the brain's structure. The point of this today, our brain and our faith, is to inform you that you are all important to the development of your brain. Your social relationships are fundamental to how your mind functions and an essential aspect of brain health. Social connections help form neural paths in the structures of our brains. The ways in which we communicate, cultivate compassion and mindfulness awareness, letting go of excessively critical and judgmental practices, enables us to form a healthy mind and brain. Know that no matter what your age, you can change your brain to build circuits of kindness, compassion, and empathy. Yes, and reduce the fear that some neurochemicals produce. Your spirituality and your brain's behavior are parts of life that lie within your creative power. As Aristotle suggested over 2,300 years ago, before everything else, all humans mutually strive to achieve the greatest amount of happiness from life. I'd like to make a case for the goal of our beloved community here at First UU San Antonio to seek and achieve personal happiness as well as the common good. Whether we believe God created our brains or our brains create God, we can work together to bring about a better world. Blessed be. Let's reflect a little bit in our benediction. Let religion be for us about our connections, brain-wise and people-wise, about collaboration, about our growing and acting together. Let religion be about serving what is true and right, and about the wonder of that which each of us knows only in part and understands partially. May we grow into greater wholeness in our connections, our understanding and wisdom, and carry with us in our hearts each other and the bonds we develop and share here in beloved community. I'm so grateful to all who had a part in producing today's service, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. Gale Morrow, Susan Dill, Jaime Ramirez, and Richard Switzer. Our worship committee, Glenna Jones-Kostick, Mary Wright, David Rodriguez, Ron Meneses, and, of course, our chalice lighters. Let's give a special shout out to all who are watching from home and wish we could be together at our church building, especially Trent Cheney. Trent, I too wish we could be together. Hang in there, man. And hang in there, everyone. We hope to be in each other's presence as soon as safely possible. After our postlude by Jaime, we invite you to join in conversation during our coffee hour at the link shown on the screen. Please join with us. If you're not available or interested in coffee hour today, we thank you for being with us and trust that you will take good care of yourself. And we hope to see you again.